My friends, the difference between those who stay broke and those who rise into abundance does not lie in luck, opportunity, or inheritance. It lies in the unseen realm of thought and belief. Wealth is not a game of numbers, it is a game of consciousness. The rich are not rich because they hold money in their hands, but because they hold faith, certainty, and expectation in their hearts. The broke remain broke because they have made poverty their partner in thought, their companion in speech, and their shadow in feeling. Every word you speak and every idea you entertain is either opening or closing the gates to your good. You stay broke when you talk more about lack than possibility. You stay broke when you see money as something far from you, instead of something waiting to flow through you. You stay broke when you believe you must work harder instead of think higher. The law of life responds not to toil, but to tone, to the inner vibration of your belief. You can labor endlessly and still remain in scarcity if your inner dialogue is one of fear, doubt, and complaint. The rich man and the poor man walk the same earth, but they do not walk with the same vision. One says, "I always have more than enough," and the universe answers, "So be it." The other says, "I can never get ahead," and the universe replies, "As you have spoken, it shall be done." You stay broke because you forget that money is energy, not metal or paper. Energy flows where attention goes. When you think constantly about bills, debt, and limitation, you are feeding the very shadow that drains you. But when you bless your bills, when you give thanks for every dollar, when you release fear, and act as if abundance already surrounds you, you lift your vibration to the frequency of supply. You begin to attract money as naturally as the sun attracts the dawn. You stay broke when you measure your worth by what you have rather than who you are. The rich understand that money is only a servant, it comes to those who master themselves. But the broke try to chase money without first commanding the mind that directs it. True riches begin in the invisible. The world you see is merely a mirror of the world you imagine. If your inner life is filled with complaints, jealousy, or bitterness toward those who prosper, you are turning the mirror against yourself. You are declaring that what they have cannot be yours. But when you celebrate their success as proof that abundance is real, you open your own door to receive it. You stay broke when you think you must earn every blessing instead of allowing it. Life does not reward effort, it rewards alignment. You can work yourself weary. Yet if your heart whispers, "I am not worthy," no door will open. The rich understand the sacred rhythm of giving and receiving. They give with joy, knowing that what they release returns multiplied. But those who hold tightly, who fear loss, who see giving as subtraction, cut the current of supply. The law cannot fill a closed hand. You stay broke when you call yourself broke. Every word you speak is a decree. When you say, "I can't afford it," you are writing a law in the substance of your life. The rich never speak of lack, they speak of choice. They say, "It's not my priority now," and their words preserve their power. The broke speak curses without knowing. Curses of fear, resentment, and self-doubt, and wonder why the harvest never comes. You cannot plant seeds of lack and expect a crop of abundance. You stay broke when you envy others instead of learning from them. The rich are not your enemies, they are your mirrors. What you admire, you attract. What you resent, you repel. Every time you think, "They are lucky," you push your own fortune away. Every time you think, "They know something I don't," you invite wisdom to find you. To rise from lack, you must become teachable, humble, and expectant. You stay broke because you believe the outer world controls you. But in truth, you control the outer world through your inner word. Money is not made by the world, it is made by the mind. You can be surrounded by recession and still prosper. You can live in a city of scarcity and still overflow with good. The rich are not rich because of the economy. They are rich because they have learned the divine economy of thought. They sow gratitude, faith, and generosity, and their harvest cannot fail. You stay broke when you let fear rule your choices. Fear is the gatekeeper of poverty. Every time you delay action because of fear, you close the door to opportunity. The rich feel fear too, but they do not obey it. They move with faith that provision follows purpose. They believe that life supports the bold. The broke wait for certainty, the rich act with conviction. Life rewards those who trust its abundance. You stay broke when you live in the past. You say, "I've tried before and failed," forgetting that failure is not punishment, it is instruction. The rich do not rehearse their losses, they study them. They ask, "What is this experience teaching me about my power?" Every setback is simply a signpost toward greater mastery. But the broke nurse wounds instead of wisdom. They repeat old stories until those stories become cages. You stay broke when you think wealth is external. Wealth is internal first. When you awaken to your divine supply, outer wealth must follow. Money is not your source, it is your reflection. As you expand your consciousness of abundance, money becomes a natural outflow. The rich live in faith, the broke live in fear. The rich affirm life, the broke argue with it. The rich expect miracles, the broke explain them away. And so, the question is never, why are they rich? The true question is, why do you remain broke? The answer lies not in them, but in you. In your thoughts, your words, and your faith. The moment you begin to see money as your ally, to bless prosperity wherever you find it, to give with joy, to speak with confidence, to expect your good, at that moment, poverty loses its power. The invisible law of abundance begins to move, unseen but unstoppable, through your life. Poverty is a state of mind before it becomes a state of life. The world you see outside is only a mirror of the world that exists within you. Before a man becomes poor in the material sense, he has already accepted poverty in his thinking. He has already decided, consciously or unconsciously, that wealth belongs to others, that he must struggle, that life is hard, that he must earn by sweat and sorrow what could be received through faith and certainty. Every condition begins in the invisible realm of thought, and the one who continually entertains thoughts of lack, limitation, and fear is building, brick by brick, the walls of his own poverty. You can change your outer circumstances only by changing the pattern of your inner conversation, because every idea you persistently hold becomes flesh and bone in your reality. The world is not your master. It is your reflection. The poor man does not lack money first. He lacks vision. He cannot see himself as prosperous, therefore prosperity cannot see him. When you speak of lack, you breathe life into it. When you think of debt, you feed it. When you feel unworthy, you close the gates of your own supply. Poverty is not a curse from outside forces, it is a creation of mistaken identity. You have forgotten who you are. You are not a beggar in the universe. You are the heir of divine abundance. The power that made the stars did not place you on this earth to crawl in fear of tomorrow. Yet so many people live as though the universe is against them, as if life itself enjoys withholding. They forget that what they call life is only their own consciousness projected outward. If you believe that the world is a place of scarcity, you will find evidence of it everywhere you look. But if you believe that the universe is overflowing with good, you will begin to notice doors where others see walls, opportunities where others see obstacles. A man's mind is like a magnet, and every thought he holds is a thread that pulls his reality toward him. Those who dwell in fear of losing are constantly attracting loss. Those who expect to be cheated are constantly attracting dishonesty. But those who walk in the certainty of abundance begin to draw all good things toward themselves. Poverty cannot stay where the consciousness of wealth has been established. Just as darkness cannot linger when light is present, the light of abundance begins with one realization: you are not separate from the source of supply. The same intelligence that keeps the sun shining and the rivers flowing also moves through you. It knows no shortage, no struggle, no limitation. The only barrier is the belief in separation. Look closely at the thoughts that run through your mind every day. When you receive money, do you feel gratitude or anxiety? When you see someone successful, do you feel inspiration or resentment? When a new opportunity arises, do you feel faith or fear? Your answers reveal the vibration you are living in. A poor mind is always afraid, always guarded, always expecting disappointment. It clings to what it has because it does not trust that more will come. A rich mind, on the other hand, is open, generous, and fearless. It gives freely, knowing that what it gives will return multiplied. It is not reckless, it is receptive. It understands that abundance is a flow, and to receive, one must also release. Poverty begins when one allows fear to dictate decisions. A person may have little money yet still be rich in spirit, because they know that their circumstances are temporary. But when fear takes root and begins to govern thought, even the little they have starts to vanish. Fear is the soil in which poverty grows. It whispers, "There isn't enough. You can't afford to dream. You must settle for less." And when you believe those whispers, you plant seeds of lack in the garden of your mind. In time, those seeds grow into the visible weeds of struggle, debt, and delay. But if you replace fear with faith, faith that life is generous, faith that you are guided, faith that your supply is limitless, the weeds wither, and abundance begins to bloom. Many stay poor because they see themselves as victims of conditions rather than creators of them. They blame the economy, the government, their upbringing, their education, or the times. Yet history is filled with people who rose from nothing, who defied every limitation by first transforming their belief. The moment you stop saying, "I can't," and begin saying, "I can and I will," the law of life shifts in your favor. The universe is always listening to the tone of your inner word. When you speak as though lack defines you, lack obeys. When you speak as though abundance is your birthright, abundance answers. The difference between the prosperous and the poor often lies not in opportunity, but in outlook. The prosperous look at a closed door and say, "Another will open." The poor look at the same door and say, "Nothing ever works for me." The prosperous bless others' success and draw the same blessing to themselves. The poor curse others' success and push prosperity further away. Every emotion, every word, every belief is a seed, and the harvest cannot contradict the planting. If you constantly plant thoughts of worry, frustration, and doubt, do not be surprised when your life mirrors those seeds. But plant faith, gratitude, and expectancy, and you will find the soil of life returning those in abundance. The mind that holds poverty cannot attract wealth. Even if given riches, it will soon lose them. For the inner pattern will recreate the familiar state. That is why so many who win fortunes by chance quickly return to struggle. Their outer gain cannot outlast their inner belief. Likewise, one who has cultivated a consciousness of abundance can lose everything and rebuild again. Because the source of his wealth is within him. You cannot truly keep what you do not inwardly believe belongs to you. The first step out of poverty is not earning more. It is believing more. You stay poor when you make struggle your identity. Some people find comfort in their hardship because it gives them a story to tell, sympathy to receive, or excuses to hide behind. They have unconsciously fallen in love with their limitation. Until that attachment breaks, prosperity cannot enter. You must be willing to release the old image of yourself as the struggler, the survivor, the underdog. You must begin to see yourself as chosen, capable, worthy, and destined for increase. When you change your self-image, you change your results. There are those who live with empty wallets but full hearts, hearts rich in vision, gratitude, and determination, and soon their outer world begins to mirror that richness. There are others who live with full wallets but empty hearts, and their fortune slips away. The invisible always precedes the visible. Poverty begins in the unseen, just as wealth begins in the unseen. To change one's financial condition, one must first change the atmosphere of thought, the tone of feeling, and the language of belief. The poor say, "I'll believe it when I see it." The rich say, "I'll see it when I believe it." Everything begins in the mind. If you desire abundance, you must think abundance, feel abundance, and act as though abundance is already yours. You must retrain your inner speech, erase every declaration of lack, and replace it with words of power. Say to yourself daily, "There is always more coming. Money flows to me easily. I am in tune with divine supply." These are not empty affirmations. They are commands to the creative law of the universe. The moment you declare them with faith, invisible forces begin to move in your favor. Poverty dissolves when belief aligns with truth, and truth is that you are already connected to unlimited good. The outer world has no choice but to follow the inner command, because life is but an echo of your own conviction. The words you speak and the thoughts you think are creating your financial reality. Every syllable that leaves your mouth carries vibration and power. Every thought that lingers in your mind is a command to the unseen forces that shape your life. You may believe you are merely describing your situation when you say you are broke, but in truth, you are prescribing it. The universe hears every word as instruction, not complaint. When you say, "I can't afford it," you are not making a statement of fact. You are writing a decree that becomes law in your experience. When you say, "Money never stays with me," you are sending out an energetic command for it to flee. The rich and the poor are not separated by talent alone, but by the consistent tone of their inner language. One speaks words that align with abundance, while the other speaks words that align with limitation. Words are not casual, they are creative. They are seeds sown into the soil of the subconscious mind. Whatever you plant there will grow. Speak of lack and lack multiplies. Speak of prosperity and prosperity begins to take root. The spiritual law of cause and effect operates without favoritism. It gives to every man according to his belief and expression. Those who understand this guard their words with great care. They refuse to speak of debt, fear, or failure. Even when appearances seem grim, they declare, "All things are working together for my good." And by this faith, they transform their condition. The broke person, however, continually rehearses his troubles, magnifying them through repetition until they become his identity. His words form chains, binding him to the very conditions he wishes to escape. Your mind is the workshop of creation, and your speech is the tool. What you allow to live in thought will soon live in form. Every time you complain about money, you affirm that you lack it. Every time you say, "I never have enough," you strengthen the reality of scarcity. The outer world is simply echoing your inner words. You are not waiting for life to change. Life is waiting for you to change your conversation. The wealthy are not lucky. They are deliberate. They speak as though the good they desire is already present. They bless their income. They bless their work. They bless every opportunity, and in return, blessings multiply. Their words are magnets of prosperity. Thoughts are the silent words of the soul, and they are even more powerful than spoken ones. You can smile and say, "I'm doing fine," while secretly thinking, "I'm afraid I'll lose everything." And it is the inner thought that creates the outcome. The universe listens to your true vibration, not your polite phrases. If your inner dialogue is soaked in fear, no amount of outer optimism will override it. You must purify your thoughts until they match the vibration of abundance. Begin by catching yourself in the act of negative thinking. When you notice thoughts like, "Money is hard to come by," or "I'll never get ahead," stop and replace them with truth. Say within yourself, "Money flows easily to me. I am divinely supplied. Every day, I grow richer in every way." Do not wait to feel it first. Speak it until it becomes natural. The feeling will follow the thought, and the thought will rewrite the pattern. Many people sabotage their prosperity because they use their words carelessly. They joke about being broke, not realizing that the law of mind does not understand humor. It only understands belief. If you continually declare, "I'm poor," or "I'm struggling," even in jest, the energy of those words begins to solidify into your reality. You may believe you are light-heartedly expressing yourself, but you are, in fact, giving orders to the unseen. Speak only what you desire to live. Say, "I am increasing. I am expanding. I am open to receive." Every declaration becomes a spiritual contract, and the universe fulfills it in its own perfect way. The thoughts you think also attract similar thoughts. One thought of lack invites another until your entire inner world becomes a storm of worry. You must interrupt that storm with calm authority. Refuse to dwell on fear. Replace the mental picture of bills and debts with images of overflowing accounts, paid obligations, and generous giving. Your mind cannot hold two pictures at once. Whichever one you feed will prevail. Think of money as a friend. Welcome it, appreciate it, expect it. Do not chase it with desperation, for desperation repels. Think of it with gratitude, and gratitude attracts. When you speak, you cast spells. The word spell itself comes from speaking, spelling out your reality. The rich cast spells of increase, while the poor cast spells of limitation. You may notice that wealthy people often speak in terms of opportunity, possibility, and growth. They say things like, "There's always another way," Money is easy to make. This will lead to something better. Those statements are not idle. They are setting a tone of expectancy, and expectancy is the secret rhythm of prosperity. The broke often speak in absolutes of failure. Nothing ever works for me. I'm always behind. I can't catch a break. These words become barriers, walls built out of belief. To break them, one must speak new words, bold words, faith-filled words. Every word carries emotion, and emotion fuels manifestation. When you speak with joy, your words vibrate at the frequency of abundance. When you speak with fear, your words create resistance. The law is simple: what you feel, you attract. Therefore, speak words that lift your feeling, not words that burden it. Instead of saying, "I don't know how I'll pay this," say, "The money for this is already on its way." Instead of saying, "I can't afford that," say, "I'm choosing to invest wisely for now." These subtle shifts reprogram your consciousness from victimhood to mastery. The thoughts you allow daily form your atmosphere. If your atmosphere is filled with doubt, everything around you begins to reflect that energy. Opportunities pass you by, not because they are absent, but because your vibration does not recognize them. On the other hand, when your atmosphere is charged with faith, ideas come easily, doors open unexpectedly, and resources appear seemingly out of nowhere. It is not coincidence, it is correspondence. The outer world corresponds perfectly with the inner vibration. You must also be mindful of the words spoken around you. The company you keep influences the tone of your thinking. If you surround yourself with those who complain, gossip, or speak of scarcity, your mind absorbs that atmosphere. Guard your ears as you guard your thoughts. Choose to be among those who speak of success, gratitude, and vision. Let every conversation lift your spirit rather than drain it. The more you hear abundance, the more natural it becomes to speak it, and the more you speak it, the more you live it. Every success story begins with a changed thought. No one rises without first revising their inner language. Before a man starts a business, builds wealth, or achieves greatness, he has already said within himself, "I can." That simple thought is a spark that lights the fire of creation. The one who says, "I can't," extinguishes the flame before it begins. Every rich life begins in the silence of the mind, with thoughts of faith whispered to the universe. The moment you speak those thoughts aloud with conviction, the universe begins rearranging itself to match your declaration. The power is always with you, waiting for your word. The thoughts you think are the architects of your future. The words you speak are the builders. Together they construct the mansion or the prison of your life. If you wish to change your financial condition, you must first change the language of your thought. Stop narrating your lack. Begin declaring your abundance. Speak as though it were already done, for in truth, it already is in the unseen realm. The mind that speaks of wealth inevitably attracts it, because speech and thought are the bridges between the invisible and the visible. When they harmonize with faith, the unseen becomes seen, and your world begins to mirror the words that you have spoken in the power of belief. Wealth flows to those who act in faith, gratitude, and divine confidence, not fear or doubt. The universe is a mirror, reflecting not what you wish for, but what you expect. Faith is the key that unlocks the invisible vault of abundance. Gratitude is the magnet that draws it closer. Confidence is the bridge that allows it to flow without resistance. Those who act in faith are not merely dreamers, they are receivers. They move as though their good is already here, and the universe hastens to confirm their belief. Those who act in fear wait for proof before moving. And because they wait, nothing moves. The law of abundance responds only to motion inspired by trust. When you step out in faith, unseen doors open, unseen forces arrange, unseen blessings begin to flow. Faith is not hope. Hope says, maybe one day. But faith says, it is mine now. Hope looks for signs, but faith creates them. Hope waits, faith moves. The rich understand this law. They do not wait for everything to be perfect before they act. They take the first step, and the next appears. The broke, however, wait for guarantees. They need to see the entire staircase before taking the first step. In doing so, they remain rooted in place, praying for miracles while denying the very principle that creates them. Faith without action is only a wish, and action without faith is only effort. True prosperity requires both, action that flows from certainty. Gratitude transforms the vibration of the heart. The moment you give thanks, even for what little you have, you elevate your frequency to match the energy of abundance. Gratitude says, I already possess something of value. And that statement of possession invites more. The ungrateful heart, however, focuses only on what is missing, and therefore multiplies absence. The poor often say, I'll be grateful when I have more. But the wise know the secret is reversed. You will have more when you are grateful now. Gratitude opens the channel for increase. Complaint closes it. Each thankful thought is a key that unlocks another door of blessing. The rich understand that gratitude is not a reaction but a strategy. It is the spiritual currency that buys miracles. Confidence is the outer expression of inner faith. It is not arrogance, nor is it pride. It is the calm knowing that you are aligned with divine supply. Confidence acts without apology, speaks without fear, and gives without hesitation. When you walk in confidence, you send a message to the universe that you trust its abundance. The fearful, on the other hand, act as though every opportunity might be their last, and by that vibration of scarcity, they repel the very things they desire. Confidence is magnetic because it signals belief. When you believe in yourself, the world believes in you. When you doubt yourself, life mirrors that doubt. The rich carry an invisible assurance that everything they touch will prosper, and that belief becomes self-fulfilling. Faith, gratitude, and confidence together form the divine triangle of abundance. Each strengthens the other. Faith gives rise to gratitude, gratitude deepens confidence, and confidence reinforces faith. When you live within this triad, money begins to flow toward you naturally, effortlessly, and continuously. You become a vessel for abundance rather than a seeker of it. You stop chasing wealth, because you recognize that wealth is drawn to certainty. Money seeks out those who treat it as a trusted friend, not those who approach it as a desperate plea. When you bless money, appreciate it, and use it wisely, it feels safe in your care. When you fear it, hoard it, or speak ill of it, it avoids you. Fear is the great thief of prosperity. It is the whisper that says, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? Fear disguises itself as caution, logic, and practicality, but beneath its mask lies disbelief in the goodness of life. Fear freezes movement, clouds vision, and kills opportunity before it begins. Every time you act from fear, you affirm a world of scarcity. Every time you act from faith, you affirm a world of infinite supply. Life cannot reward fear, because fear denies the flow of creation. It closes the channel through which abundance travels. Faith, on the other hand, opens it wide. When you act in faith, you act as though your success is already certain. You invest in yourself when others hesitate. You speak with confidence when others doubt. You give when others withhold. You make decisions from vision, not from circumstance. And in doing so, you shift the invisible laws in your favor. The broke wait for conditions to change before believing. The rich believe and watch the conditions rearrange themselves. Faith is not blind. It sees farther than the eyes. It sees into the unseen, into the realm of potential, and brings it into form through conviction. Gratitude is the song of prosperity. When you wake with thankfulness in your heart, the day conspires to bless you. When you bless your food, your work, your home, and even your challenges, you are aligning yourself with the rhythm of divine supply. The grateful do not dwell on what they lack, for they know that what they appreciate expands. The moment you say, thank you, for what you already possess, you are declaring to the universe that you are ready for more. You cannot be in gratitude and fear at the same time, for gratitude dissolves fear like sunlight dissolves mist. To live in thankfulness is to live in the consciousness of sufficiency. Divine confidence is knowing that you are guided, protected, and provided for by a higher order of intelligence. It is the awareness that life is not happening to you but through you. Those who possess this confidence walk through uncertainty with peace. They may face temporary setbacks, but they do not call them defeat. They know that every delay is divine timing, every closed door is redirection, and every challenge is preparation. Because they trust the process, they never stop moving. This calm assurance allows wealth to flow toward them continuously. The fearful person, by contrast, hesitates, doubts, and second guesses every opportunity until it passes. Acting in faith is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing which reality to give power to. There is always a version of your life in which you are struggling, and another in which you are thriving. Whichever one you focus on becomes your experience. Faith focuses on the unseen good, and that good begins to take shape. The rich are not blind to difficulty, they simply refuse to be defined by it. They see opportunity in challenge, abundance in limitation, and strength in struggle. They speak blessings into obstacles until those obstacles turn into doors. That is the alchemy of faith. Fear and doubt are heavy vibrations that slow the movement of life. They make you cautious when you should be bold, silent when you should speak, and stagnant when you should grow. Fear says, play it safe. But safety is the slowest form of poverty. The universe rewards expansion, not contraction. When you expand through faith, gratitude, and confidence, everything expands with you. When you contract through fear, everything contracts with you. The energy you emit is the invitation you send. Send faith, and abundance answers. Send doubt, and stagnation replies. Acting in gratitude also transforms your relationship with giving. You stop giving from obligation and start giving from overflow. You realize that every gift you give returns multiplied, not because of superstition, but because giving affirms abundance. When you give joyfully, you are saying, I have more than enough. And that belief becomes your reality. The fearful give reluctantly, thinking they are losing something. The faithful give gladly, knowing they are multiplying it. Gratitude makes circulation possible, and circulation is the breath of wealth. To act in divine confidence is to know that your supply cannot be cut off. Even when one stream dries up, another is already forming. You do not panic, you pivot. You do not plead, you proclaim. You do not shrink, you shine. Confidence is the voice that says, everything I need is on its way, and that voice is never unheard. The moment you release worry and replace it with trust, you align yourself with the rhythm of increase. Faith moves mountains because faith moves you first. Gratitude multiplies blessings because gratitude multiplies awareness of them. Confidence opens doors because confidence opens energy. Together, they make you a conduit for divine abundance through which wealth flows freely, naturally, and without end.